Alright, y'all. So, normally I don't post build videos on my channel. Mostly it's just the memes and dumb stuff that happens in games, but I've come to enjoy a new addition to the armor sets and everything for the bonuses. So, now I do apologize for the lack of editing and all that stuff. I don't really have editing software, so I kind of just doing this one shot. Um, so, start off the Hammer of Soul, fantastic super. I enjoy it. It works well with the solar sunspots. Um, for the barricade, though, I do run rally barricade because I've gotten my teammates killed with this thing a lot. So rally's pretty good. People can peek over it and shoot. Increases, range, stability, reload speed, all that stuff. Um, catapult lift, I tend to run. Makes me feel like I'm Titan skating again. Not really. Doesn't really matter if you have like a better lift that you prefer. You can use those. Um, starting in the good part is the throwing hammer. They basically buffed it back to where it used to be, and then it generates melee energy stats as well. So you're kind of working with good energy on that one. The healing nade is something I run just to get one of my fragments to proc. But you can run any other one of these if you need something. If you don't want to use benevolence. First aspect, Soul Invictus, one of the standards in most Solar Titan builds. So gives you a sunspot, scorches targets, causing things to explode. So fun. The Roaring Flame. Now, I've seen a lot of people use Consecration. Consecration. I got whatever. The the weird uh, sliding in melee one. But I feel for the damage I need for the mallet, the Roaring Flames is a bit better. And honestly, it's been serving me pretty good so far. Anyways, Ember of Benevolence. If you don't want to run that and you want to run something like, excuse me, Ember of Torches, Ember of Char, all that stuff, you can. But this one is to proc it on my allies, so I can get my class and stuff back faster. My next fragment is Ember of Solus. It has increasing your radiation. Now, if you don't want to have the increased radiation, radiant. Speak English. So the increase in the radiance restoration effects, you can do that, or you can switch it for something like the Fire Sprite for Ember of Mercy, which Ember of Mercy actually is a really good, because you're not really worried about granting allies restoration, but the Fire Sprite giving you restoration is probably going to be a big help. And then the next fragment is Ember of Singeing, something for my class ability regens faster with Scorching. So you're rocking the Scorch to grant your class ability back faster, plus this, you're going to be getting it. Now, if you're doing, like I said, if you're doing solo content, you can take this off and put on something, like I said, the Ember of Char, Torches, Ember of Eruption, which that's also a good one because your stuff it'll increase your melee stat. Actually, you know what? I will switch that for a little bit, just see how that works. So Benevolence or Ember of Char. For the final one, I do run Ember of Empyrean because it keeps my restoration of radiance going a lot longer. So I'm not having to constantly reproc it too much, and I find that to be a better option. Now, the armor sets and bonuses and everything has to be. Now, this can apply to you warlocks and you hunters out there. It is a great addition for solar builds because, as you can see, you basically get the Loreley Splendor helmet in a set of armor. Now, obviously, if you don't want to run that, you can run something else that's better. I've heard there's ones out there that gives you rocket launcher increased damage or something, but this one has been fantastic. I was mainly in it for the 4-stack, so the 2-piece, it's all right. I haven't really noticed a difference in my aiming with it, but it does help with the reload speed when you're behind your barricade. Cauterize, though, is what you're looking for. Now, the stats, obviously, you're looking for melee first. That's kind of how the mallet works. With your Roaring Flames, it does get pretty strong. I haven't tested out the damages or anything because I'm not really that too much into the damage of, or that too much into the nitty gritty of all the stats. The next stat you'll want to worry about is health, so that you're getting more health when you pick up, based on the mods that I have. That way you'll get more health for orbs. Now, if you don't run recuperation, you can focus on something like your super or your class ability, and those will be a bigger benefit as well. But I keep them about 75 or higher. Seems to be pretty good so far. Plus, with all the regen from your supers and your fragments and aspects, is going to be a lot better. As you can see, I don't have very high level armor yet when it comes to the Solstice armor, but for what I use it for, it's fantastic. So obviously, when it gets to higher levels, it'll be a lot better, you know, stat distributions and all that stuff. So for the helmet, which obviously Lordly Splendor, Cauterizing Flame, while you have a solar subclass equipped, casting your barricade or becoming critically wounded, drops a sunspot at your location, healing you, give you restoration, and proccing all your other stuff. But for the mods, you know, if you need to switch out certain mods for certain things, you can switch them into there. It doesn't matter. But I run 2 hands on, get as much super as possible, so you can actually forego super. I also did have it for a while where I ran this, which was bonus to super stat, which honestly, as quickly as you get it back with everything else, I wouldn't suggest running it. But that's me. Harmonic Siphon, so it gives me a better opportunity to use these, so that you can get solar final blows, giving you orbs from your weapons. For the arms, I'm running Impact Induction and Focusing Strike, so I'm getting my barricades back faster as well, on top of everything else, and my grenade back. And then every kill grants me a potential chance of getting an orb. So here, running just the average resistances. If you need to, I run Concussive Dampener because I finally find myself getting shot at with a lot more explosive stuff. But in higher content, the sniper resistances is a lot better. Obviously, you can switch out like whatever you're doing, so you get somebody who does strand damage and void damage. You can switch those out whenever you need. For the boots, recuperation. Obviously, if you find you're not getting like your melee back fast enough or your grenade back, you can run Innervation or Invigoration since you're getting all that healing. And then the solar surges are for if you're doing solar weapons. So, for example, if you run like any solar weapon and you have Ember of Imperium, so if you don't have solar weapons and you want to run something else instead of something to keep you for Ember of Empyrean, then you can do that. But I run specifically the solar surges to cause my other weapons to do damage. And then for the class item, I run Class Front, so it gives me more of a boost to that as well. And then Powerful Attraction, because obviously you're getting all those orbs you're generating, you can pop it down, and if you're not like getting critically injured, you can just pop down your barricade, and it gives you all that, and it gives you all your armor charges back. And then, you know, class ability to get you more for your for using your class ability. Now, for the weapons, obviously, if you want to, you can switch this Dragon's Breath out, which I run Dragon's Breath because, you know, good for unstoppables and everything as well. But it's a good damage. Now, if you want to run like Whisper the Worm, it's been pretty good too. But if you want to run like your bait and switch ones, rockets, you can run those, and then switch this out for Witherhoard. That's up to you. But for the primary, that's where I would highly suggest something with like Incandescence and Heal Clip potentially, or like I have with Subsistence and Incandescence. Incandescence is great. It pretty much gives you Scorch. So any of your other stuff that you want with Scorch, it'll give you a little bit more of a benefit. And then for the artifact items, there's a few artifact items in here that I really don't need, but I'm going to go ahead and switch those out while I'm here. So these, this is good if you run like those that fusion rifle that has like the strand in it, and you want to run that with solar, you can because it's in there. I do want to make a stasis build, and I do want this for my tightly thing. Elemental buff, ability energy. No. So this is the first one that you'll realistically want for this build. Is the obviously you're not doing the stasis, you're doing solar weapons grant you radiance, so you don't have to use Emperor of Torches. That way, you can save that slot and use it for something else. This is for my strand build. This one. Now, obviously, since there's going to be a lot of people out there using the Strand Titan subclass thing, you can use this so that all solar damage is increased. I don't really need that, to be fair, anymore. Dealing sustained damage, combatants. And then that would be good. So the next one you're going to want is Shield Crush because of the grenade recharge while you're Radiant. And then the Radiant Shrapnel. Because that Radiant Shrapnel is actually not as bad as you think. It's a really good way to get Scorch going as well. It's kind of like the Warlock's little mortar dude. It kind of goes like it shoots out like one of those. Although I don't think it has tracking. But that's just me. And that's just how I run it. So, and then for those who want to see the fit, that's what I got going on. I used to have it as this one, but I tried to go for more of like a molten color thing. So, and then yeah, that's about it. That's not really too much of anything else here. And I've been running the duck because, you know, I thought the little duck floodie was hilarious. So I've been running that for a little while. But everything else, that's kind of how the build's been going, and I hope to see y'all using it.